Look at this lovely picture. I've just received this from a friend of mine who's on holiday in Spain. I think this is a town called Calpe. I think it's Calpe. I think, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's got this amazing rock. It's just this rock face, so I'm going to try and do that. But I've got this green shape here. It's rather interesting building here. Nice round shape with these round windows and these arches going down here. So we've got quite a lot of linear perspective to have a go at. We've got these lines take us in here, and we've got the dock here and a few boats and various paraphernalia. But I've got these palm trees. How do I get those? That's the question. And there's a lot of detail here. Of course, there's all these tables and things, so I probably have to reduce that detail. And we've got these nice shrubs and plants here, and do another palm tree there. And the water, got to get the reflection of the water, and a life belt here. So anyway, I'm going to have a go at this. I'm not sure you can see my sketch so well there, but I've mapped it out just lightly with a pencil. So I'm going to have a go at that now. So get out my trusty palette. I'm wondering whether all this paint is usable still. Maybe. Yes, a couple of days ago I was using it. So may have to wake it up a little bit with perhaps a bit of thinner initially. See what we've got. Can get some of that sky in maybe. If this paint can be woken up a little bit. Yes, I think so. So I might just go straight to do that, but you traditionally start off with your darkest darks, but since I've just waking up that paint, see if it's good enough for me to use right now. So I think I'll just put it on this board. This is my plywood boards, which I made myself and just coated with some acrylic undercoat, white undercoat, just to seal the boards really. But then of course I've toned it with some sienna and umber just to take out the white. But I'm just going to put this in now. Quite liking the painting on these boards. It's a little bit different from canvas. A bit slick and slippery. I suppose one can get used to the different surfaces. I think I'll have to thicken up some of this paint because I can see some of my wood still there. So I'm going to bring the sky down here, this blue. I'm going to keep it fairly light as well. I think this is Spain, just a day or so ago. My friend tells me it was 26 degrees, I think, which was pretty nice since we're only 10 or 12 in England the same day. So, yeah, so keep it nice and bright. That's ultramarine that I put in there with some titanium white. So I'm going to make sure we've got slightly darker the top there. You see, I can always go over this. This will help me get the shape, I think. I think I need to bring it down a little bit, actually. So much steeper. Looks some big rock is a feature of this town, I think. Right. Yes, I'm going to, over here I'm going to have a palm tree. So I'm going to do this in alla prima, wet on wet, all in one session. That's the plan anyway, unless I decide it's too wet to put some of these finer details in, which may be the issue. So let's get, I think I put my gloves on my left hand anyway, because I wipe my brush on some tissue which I hold in my left hand, try to avoid getting oil paints all over me. It is water mixable paint, Winsor and Newton. Let's leave that. Right. I clean my brushes with odorless mineral spirit. Get the worst off there. And I also use liquid. I've got this little dipper here. Can you see? Liquid there. And well, that's poppy seed oil, I think I've got there, and then liquid in this one, or maybe no, that's linseed oil, I think, and liquid in this one, which helps the paint flow off your brush, but also helps it dry. So let's get a colour now. It's quite light on that big hillside actually. So what have I got? I've got some ochre, yellow ochre here, just there. Has it got a little bit there? This is a little bit stiff, starting to dry a little bit. Let's get some oil on it, see if we can make it a little softer there, flow a little bit better. Get some liquid as well, because that's quite a big mass I've got there. We're going to have to lighten it, of course. Nice sort of light sandy colour, and I hold it up against my iPad there, see if I've got an approximate colour. And of course I'm going to have lots of texture in this rock, and I've got to get that in. some green and some of the rock crevices, and so we've got to get all that in. Yes, more oil. I think I need a slipperier. Just mainly doing the blocking now. I'm not going to get caught in the detail. Let's just get the main shapes. That's what we need to do at this stage, I think. As I say, we're going to have a nice big palm tree cutting in over here, and then this left hand side, and there's this nice building here. Oh, I've come down a little bit too far with that mountain side. As I said, nothing is impossible to fix with oil. You just wipe it out or let it dry off a little bit. Yes, I'm not paying attention there. I needed to bring it only down to about there, and the rest is a sort of green. Yes, the rock comes down here. That'll be okay. Yes, that's quite enough for that, for the time being. Now we could go straight. Let's see if I think I'm going to have to get some fresh paint, I suspect, here. Try not to waste my colours. So I'm using those that I put out the other day. Oh yes, that'll do it. Yes, it comes down like this. It's going to come right down. I should really keep this quite thin actually, so I can find it easier to put other colours over it. It's easier, and it comes down. Map out the shapes. All this here, and it comes down to the top of that building in the distance. Probably be able to get an odd car in a minute, or down the road a little bit further. But I need to make that a little bluer actually. So let's a little darker green. So I'll put some ultramarine. I've got sap green on my palette as well. So let's This umber, I think, is... I have to get some more out, I think. Anyway, let's... yes, we've got... Yes, there's lots of little vegetation showing here. Big lumps and different pieces of vegetation, whatever they have in that hillside. Yes, that's coming there. And along that edge, just gonna make that a little darker there. Just looking at my reference now, that green comes right up. So this nice old building projects into it, and we can put some palm trees as well. This one here, at some point there. And it comes down. Let's take the grass, this blue greeny colour down here over that. Yes, so we've got yes, we're getting there. So we'll put a palm tree over here shortly. It's going to come out over there. But I'm squinting my eyes now, and I can see I need using a big broad brush at the moment. This is number 8. Daleroni graduate brush. Not expensive, but they're good. They do the job. Yeah. And of course what we've got to do is get some texture in this hillside, or this rock I should say, this big old rocky outcrop. So I got some more brown here, have I, on this old palette that I can revive. Yes, let's put some, this is a tear off palette. I've got some darker colour there, so I've got to try and make some of those rocky fissures come down, make them realistic. Rocky outcrop comes there. Got a little bits here. And I've got some faces here that are in the shadow, and I think I can put some different colours in there in a minute. will vary, but let's just get some of the fissures showing if we can. I'll get a smaller brush, I think. Some of it, let's just use this to create some shadow forms, really. Yes, this got to make sure I got some shadow forms so we can give some shape. Otherwise it'll be flat. It'll look too flat. So we've got to do that. I think this needs to project a little bit there. Yep. Okay. Right. Now, what's next? We got some dark. We can use some of this darker. Get some darker clumps of vegetation. Try and make them read. That's it, I think. Now we've got to get that building in as well. Right. It's got some lights in as well. We can deal with that later. Yes, I put some dark. This is going to be quite light, so it's a good idea to help emphasize if you have some darker bits abutting it. Okay. Got to put some different colours in here, I think. Essentially, it's got to be very bright. Let's clean off this brush and get some thing in these big masses. Right, let's wipe this brush. I think I'll get a slight. Should I go for a smaller brush right now? I've got to get this bit in, this big pavement area. Yes, let's get some grey going in there. I think it's a grey, this board panel, this bit of boardwalk really. Some ochre. Let's have a look. I think we need some titanium with my colour there. A little bit of ochre, I think. Let's get that stretching out as it does, disappears up here. And this is all white here, and we'll get some texture in there at some point, I think. Yes, it comes right. Yeah, I think we need some liquid here. Making hard work of this. Yes. Need some more liquid. I think our pot's a bit empty there. That's better. There's a life belt on a pillar here, just off to the right here. We'll get that in a moment. Bit of raw sienna there. Give it a little bit of colour to this pavement here. This boardwalk, I suppose. I've got to put some suggestion of the texture in as we go. Don't need to bother for the moment. There's a bright edge of the dock there, catching some stone and some light there. Light's catching the stone, shining brightly. Right. Well, I've put a bit of shadow on the on this side of the mountain. I'm looking at a little bit of darker bit of blue with a slight bit of crimson alizarin in and some white, so I sort of greyed out a little bit. I want to, because this side is in shadow. So I've got to do that. So I've done that, and I've mapped in this little bit of this building here with some raw sienna. And I've done a few marks on this pavement here. But that's the detail. I shouldn't be fiddling around with that at the moment, so let's get on with that main building. I say it's quite a lot of different shapes, a lot of detail, I mean, so I've got to simplify it a little bit, I think. Got this roof element there, there's a little bit of roof coming down there, different, and we've got a dark piece here. Let's get some old sienna. Let's see if we can catch that a little bit. That's it. Comes along there. And we've also got more here. to try and, as I say, simplify it, because there's rather a lot of detail. Too much really, unless you're going to take hours and hours, or maybe perhaps a few days. Depends how much detail you like to put in. This terracotta sort of tiles they use in Spain a lot. Let's try and put a bit of form in here to this building. It's going to have some windows in as well, and a white element along the top there, and the windows. So let's just make that a little bigger there. Yes, I think we can do that. And got a little bit of a structure there. Let's clean up the brush a little bit now, and put some white in here. This element of this roof, or this side of this gable end really, it's not the roof. Kind of just hint at that white there, and I'll put some details on this on the edges so we can catch some of those tiles, but that's for much later really. Just leave that. And we've got light coming in here. A little bit of this building is white there. And of course this, we've got to get this down here. This is largely white mass here. And we've got to put in the palm tree as well, but let's just get these whites in here. Got a little flat brush here. Gives me some bit of a sharp edge along that. Can you see there? So that comes down here, and we're going to have some big plants over here. We're going to lay over this. And let's just put this in as our base for the building behind where it will be. Like the side of a chimney there. Right, now we've got to get some whites here. So it's a very, very bright day, so got to make sure we this little curb along there, which I need to get. I say this is a wet on wet technique, alla prima, so that has its challenges as well. Looks like that, but I need to the top of this building along here, it's got a lovely white element to it. I'm going to make that quite thick. Right. Okay. And as I say, we've got this building along here. Right, and this is slightly white, brighter down here, because I think the light is coming right to left on this, so I think we can use some of that paint there. And along here we have this bright building here with some arches, which we can deal with as we go. I think along here I'm going to put some ochre there in a minute. But let's get this. I'm going to have to put in those much more detail. White buildings out here. Just I'll go over with a darker colour a little bit later. I can use some of this white though. So we've got some brights here. Try and give some sort of 3D to our hillside there. So this is the shadow side. Yes, that's all right. Well, I've put a bit of shadow on the on this side of the mountain. I'm looking at it, a little bit of darker bit of blue with a slight bit of crimson alizarin in and some white, so I sort of greyed out a little bit. I want to, because this side is in shadow, so I've got to do that. So I've done that, and I've mapped in this little bit of this building here with some raw sienna, and I've done a few marks on this pavement here, but that's the detail. I shouldn't be fiddling around with that at the moment, so let's get on with that main building. I say it's quite a lot of different shapes, a lot of detail, I mean, so I've got to simplify it a little bit, I think. Got this roof element there, there's a little bit of and we've got, yes, it's got to do that, and then we've got more shrubs as well. Some lighter greens as well, so I use a bit of my, I wasn't standing in front of the camera there, so I've got some yellows here, put the bright side to that one. Let's get some, mix these greens up. Can add all sorts of colours to your greens to slightly change their hue. I think they have a few pots down here which we could put some colours there. And this is a nice spring green, bit of grass there, coming down to the pavement. So we can do that. Right. Of course, we've got to get those palm trees in. Now, the question is, they're going to come, well, I've got one big, I've got to get the fronds, the shape of them. They've got a big heart, haven't they? Big thick piece in the middle usually. And we've got another one down here as well. So I've got to try and suggest that, if I can. Just got to put some light in that one though. So I'm going to see it. That's right. And we're going to do something down here. Let's put some yellows in there as well. Have I done enough with that palm tree? How am I going to do that? Yes, some of them are catching a bit of light, so I've got to try and do that. They come over here actually, so let's see if I can't suggest that with a bit of lighter, yes. I think I'll try and leave that for a moment. We can tighten up on our palm frond shapes later. I think I'll do that a bit later, a bit darker on that shade there, on the underside of that frond. And as I said, we've got them. Let's leave it there. Now, the question is, have I got these tiles and that roof line showing? I've got boats out here. Got to suggest that somehow. And also we've got here this lifeboat or lifebelt station here. That's all the paraphernalia of the seaside, of course. You get that. And it's there. Got some details in. I done enough detail on this building. It's all push and pull with this, all paintings. How much detail do you want to put in? You've got to ask yourself that. Right, now let's clean the brush a little bit and see if I can do something here. We've got the water. It's a really greeny colour, greeny blue, so I've got some phthalo green there, which is very powerful. So you don't want much of that. Let's just tickle that in. It needs to be a bit darker in places. So we've got the key side there, the little dock. Lots of little details you can add if you want to suggest things. You don't want to spell it out completely for everything. You've got to let the viewer do some work, really. And right, and let's get back to that keys. Well, there you have the finished painting of Calpe. This is in Spain. Got this magnificent rock. It looks a lot brighter in my camera than it is in when I'm looking close up. But this is the nature of the light. It varies. But anyway, I've got the perspective, which I'm quite pleased with, in this lovely round. I've tried to create some form there, so it looks a little bit round, a couple of windows in it. But these little arches here, I haven't gone to a great deal of trouble, just struck them in like this. As I said, it's not a tight representation, it's more impressionistic. But I've got the palm tree relatively successfully. I think I'm quite got the fronds, and a little bit of dry brush there really, and varied the colours, and dark in the heart of it. Of course, a little bit of reflection on the trunk there. Got this lifebelt here, and a little bit of the dock and the harbour there reflected, and a few I don't know if you could see those flagpole there and that flower, a little bit of verticals, and the odd suggestion of a pedestrian there. As you say, when you paint from a reference photograph, of course you don't have to put everything in it. In my reference I've got a lot of paraphernalia here, a lot of tables and chairs, but I chickened out on doing all that. But you could put them in. I could put them in subsequently, perhaps when it's dry, maybe tomorrow if I chose to do that, because this is alla prima, only one session. I've taken about an hour to do this, and I managed to keep the light of the rock there set against this hillside with the green, and try to, and there's a shadow side on that side, can you see? It's slightly darker. It doesn't show quite so well in my camera screen, but I've got some rocks and ravines, and try to show the shadow there. But anyway, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the channel grow a little bit as well. So thanks for watching.